Good morning to all the folks on the West Coast, and for the rest of the country, good afternoon. I'm George DeMarco, ESX Chair, and I would like to extend a warm welcome to all our listeners on today's webinar. It's called The Future of RMR, a Smarter Connected Home. And I want to give a shout out to all the folks on the webinar today. You are taking the time to sharpen your business skills, allowing you to compete at a higher level. And our goal today is to provide as much information as we can in 45 minutes. We may go over by a few minutes, so we just want to make sure that we answer as many questions for you as possible. As many of you know, the competitive and technological landscapes have dramatically shifted in the delivery of physical security for both homes and businesses, especially the competition. We have seen powerful go-to-market strategies successfully executed in recent years, and they are not going away anytime soon. So let's face it, competition is competition, and we need to take it seriously no matter who it is. And we have entered the gamification of security services. This was brought to life by the overwhelming acceptance of mobile devices and apps by consumers to manage, to control, to connect them with everything from banking, trading stocks, kids' activities, media content and travel, to even security and home management. And as you all know, consumers now have the ability to influence how and where they connect and what they connect with, all on a 24/7 basis. And to have a meaningful conversation about the future of RMR, we brought together a terrific lineup of security professionals who are willing to share their thoughts on the connected home. From Phoenix, Arizona, Matt Aberman, President and CEO of Intelligrated Communications. From Brookfield, Connecticut, Jim Corbett, owner of United Alarm. From Torrington, Connecticut, Lee Hall, Managing Partner of Soundworks and Security. From Lebanon, New Hampshire, Paul Lambert, Installation and Inventory Manager for Tasco Security. And last but not least, from NAPCO Security Technologies, George Havia, Senior VP of Sales and Marketing. And I will be your moderator today. Today's webinar is made possible by iBridge from NAPCO, and on behalf of ESX, we thank NAPCO for their sponsorship. And in a moment, George will be sharing the iBridge solution. Before we get started, here are a few housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded, so you can hear it again if you need to or if you missed something. And it will be made available for viewing on www.esxweb.com/ESXperience. And we encourage you to submit a question at any point during the presentation. Just click on the questions in the webinar window, type in your question, and we'll have our panelists answer it at the Q&A part of the program after the presentation is completed. So here's the game plan. I will be asking questions of our panelists to get their opinions on the current and future direction of the connected home. And what will we talk about? Well, we're going to talk about what is the connected home, what do consumers want from a smarter home, and maybe even what they don't want. And finally, what integrators and security companies expect from delivering next-gen products and services. But before I call up George, I would like to open with a quote from Marcel Proust. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. This quote by Marcel tells us that meaningful discovery doesn't come from learning new things, but from discovering new aspects of things already familiar to us. And as security professionals, we too must continually look at every aspect of our industry with fresh eyes. So with that, we have some cool presenters here today to share their thoughts and vision on what the connected space is all about. So we're going to start by welcoming George Havia of NAPCO to talk about iBridge. George, welcome. You're on.
Thank you very much, George. It's a pleasure to be here and to sponsor this important webinar. I think there's a lot of opportunity. Could you put up the next slide? Oh, I'm not seeing the next slide. Oh, beautiful.
Okay, it's there
so
now.
if you look at just the first slide in this presentation, I mean, you see all these pictures with people and computers and smartphones and everything else. If you sort of flashed backwards 10 years ago, you wouldn't have seen much of this going on. So that's an indication of how quickly all this technology is moving. Next slide, please. And the thing here is we have a tremendous opportunity, and as George mentioned before, it's only going to get larger as time goes on. Now, what's the main idea here for all of us? And it says, obviously, the future of RMR is the title of the webinar, and it is all about RMR. Okay, it's by providing incremental recurring monthly revenue by providing consumers with the ability to control their security systems, video cameras, HVAC systems, lighting and locks at their homes or businesses remotely from any smartphone, tablet, or PC anytime, anywhere. Now that's sort of a mouthful, but the thing is that consumers are looking for this stuff. It's more in line with the way they live nowadays. And us as security professionals, there's a tremendous opportunity to increase our incremental recurring revenue to our new prospects as well as our current consumers. So now we commonly say that, gee, the future is coming with all these services. The future is here now. Consumers want these services, and a number of very large operators have keyed in on this, right? So you have ADT, Pulse, you have Cox Home Security, you have Time Warner, Comcast, Vivint, and somebody that's really active in my area here in the New York area is AT&T Digital Life. And something to note is that they push sort of security first as an entree, and then they come in with the connected home solutions. So this opportunity is here and now, and we sort of have to grab it. Next slide, please. Now, why is all this happening right now? There are a couple of reasons. One of them is technological. The other one is more of a business reason. What's driving all the interest in connected homes is that the IP ecosystem is here. Number one, you have 60% of households plus now having tablets or smartphones. Then you have 80% of U.S. households plus having broadband internet connections. So really everything is in place right now for us to go in, put in the hardware, equip these consumers with apps, and we're providing a very valuable service to keep them connected and operating everything in their homes. Now, just as a comparison, looking at our industry, 25% of U.S. households have monitored security systems. Okay, so this is a very broad marketplace that's going to grow our business going forward because you have a lot more interest in a lot of these services and app usage and everything else over and above even monitored security systems. So it's a very promising opportunity. Next slide, please. Now, why are cable companies entering the security business and connected home business now? Now, many of you can think back to the old days where I guess the RBox were entering the industry, and it was something that was sort of a flash in the pan. It really didn't work out. That's not what's happening right now. The cable companies are really fighting for growth. As many of you may or may not know, the cable companies are reporting a drop in TV subscriptions that's actually absolutely astounding. Okay, so last year alone, they lost about 5 million accounts on the TV subscription end. The reason that's happening is that broadband is providing a lot of different options via smart TV, via tablets that people are using to look at content. Okay, so we see that accelerating. Okay, as more content providers turn to broadband distribution models, cable TV revenue for the cable guys is going to shrink dramatically. So what are they doing now? They're looking for other sources to replenish that revenue that they're losing for the TV. So it's really their survival, everybody. I mean, so they're in the security and connected home space to stay. So apart from all that, why else would you really get into the connected home space? Number one, you're trying to remain competitive all right, so that somebody else doesn't come in and offer services that you don't. Okay, so you want to be able to keep generating new customers, and then you have the opportunity to go back to your current customers and keep them safe and sound by offering them these new services, and then increase the recurring revenue that you get from them. The next thing is that you keep your consumers sticky, as they say, by offering them different services. So as an example, let's say Mrs. Jones wants to see her pets during the day, and then maybe they're not all that satisfied with the alarm system, or it's not something that really motivates them. If you have different services, the consumer will think twice before canceling your overall recurring revenue contract. So that helps in keeping your consumers. And then if you don't provide these connected home services, they probably will nowadays find somebody else, another company that will. Okay, so just a little message here. So the iBridge Connected Home Services suite, just briefly, we have a product that obviously offers everything in terms of an app, either Droid or Apple-based. And then we have all the connected home peripherals that provide connectivity to the home. And then we have a touch screen where you can operate everything throughout the house. So we offer control for the security system, the lighting, climate, video, and locking. So finally, what do you want to, next slide please, George, thanks. So what do you want to look for when you're looking for a connected home manufacturing partner? Just a few tips on what to really make important when you're looking for a supplier. Number one, and probably the most important, is that broadband and IP products get really complicated from an installation standpoint. So the system must be easy to install by your installers, and you do not, I underline, do not want your installers touching the consumer's home network. All right, that's fraught with liability, and you don't really want to go there. So you want a line that puts you on the system, on their internet connection automatically. Remote servicing capability of the system is a must. You want to be able to not have to roll a truck every 2 seconds once you're tied to the thermostat or lighting or things like that. So you want a system that you can remotely diagnose and service over the internet. Full remote functionality is preferred. All apps are not created equal. So let's say you have an app that controls your thermostat. You want it to control everything. You want it to control temperature, fan speed, be able to turn the heat on, off, turn it into air conditioning, whatever you need to do. Z-Wave devices should be easy to enroll. The system should be capable of running scenes, which is a real payoff here, because you can have your consumer, as an example, come home into their driveway with the touch of a button on their smartphone. They can unlock their lock, disarm their alarm panel, bring up their lights, and bring up their thermostat all in one scene. So you definitely want to be able to sell that. You must provide free apps, and video is extremely important. And what we're seeing as far as consumers and what they're interested in, we're sort of a culture in the U.S. that's sort of spoiled on video. We all have our 1080p TV sets and everything else, and so you want a service that's provided on your smartphones that delivers good frame rates and resolution, and provides a very good picture for consumers to sort of be happy with the service they're getting. Then finally, the main feedback we get when we provide consumers with the video component of the connected home is they want to be able to record 24/7. So they want to record and see what's going on in their homes when they're not there day in, day out. So George, that's about it. Yeah, I think it's a tremendous opportunity going forward, and look forward to working with everybody in the industry to get our fair share. Thank you.
Thanks, George, and thanks again to NAPCO for sponsoring this webinar. Now we're going to turn to our panelists and to get a sense of what we want to do is we now want to get a sense of what their company focus is. So we're going to take a few moments for each of our panelists to describe their company's go-to-market strategy and tell us what the defining moment in their company's roadmap, why did they enter the connected home space in the first place? So I'm going to start with Matt to take 2 or 3 minutes to talk about his brand and strategy and go-to-market and how he got into the connected home space. Matt, you're up.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on here. Basically, when I started my company, the idea was that we wanted to offer as many technologies as we could that would integrate together. And so our strategy is that we want to provide our customers with the best experience we can and give them the most features we can. So that's always been kind of our strategy of keeping a customer for life. Instead of just doing one thing, do as many as we can and earn their trust and respect. And kind of a defining moment for us was actually just a little over a year and a half ago. Bill, my actual NAPCO sales rep, approached me with the iBridge product that was coming out, and I was very oblivious to this upcoming change in the market, and I had no idea the affordability factor of what we could now do in terms of a connected home and offer all these ancillary services that used to be reserved for high-end residential, and now that it's brought us to a point that the regular homeowner can afford this, it was an extreme game changer for me. And the NAPCO iBridge product, actually, I think of the other ones that I have touched, appears to be the most user-friendly and a very efficient system. So that's kind of what's now steering our new trend, is based off of this product, actually.
Great. Hey, Matt, thanks a lot. Now I'm going to turn to Jim. Jim, kind of give us a sense of what your company's all about and what your focus is. And I'm very impressed with you doing personally over 3,000 residential systems.
Yeah, well, I've been in this business a long time, 40 years, back to the days of tape dialers, and I've always used NAPCO products, so I've seen a lot of change in the industry. And especially in the last few years, as NAPCO's come out with remote products, with their apps for their radios, the iBridge, but really got the change about 10 years ago. People started asking about control. They knew about the Crestrons and the big companies out there that was just out of the price range was ridiculous for the average homeowner. So as TV commercials started to show the ADT products, AT&T, in the last few years, people have been asking us a lot more about, can I control my thermostats? Oh, a light. Door locks are a big mover. People, I'm surprised. I thought thermostats would be big. Door locks are actually very big. Also, arming and disarming the alarm remotely. Like when we put NAPCO radios in, we have quite a few out there, over 400. Everyone has an app. And you know what really sells the product? Is that people love the fact, you have an app, I can turn my alarm on and off? Oh, yes, it comes with the product. People love that. So really, TV advertisement paid by other companies have helped us quite a bit, because now the exposure to my customers, they see it. They call us up, can you do that? Sure, we can do that. We have the product. So in the last few years, that's really helped us quite a bit, as other people's advertisement dollars have helped us. And with NAPCO product, the key is not everybody wants it and wants to pay the dollars, but you must have the product available to your customers and know how it works. And with a NAPCO iBridge, NAPCO radios with the app, we have it available to us. But so really, other people's dollars helped us out quite a bit on advertisement, the exposure.
That's great. Thanks very much, Jim. Now we're going to turn to Lee. Lee, you're up.
Oh, thank you, everyone. Basically, when I started my business around 15 years ago, as you can tell by the name of the company, we tried to get into a different part of the business that a lot of alarm companies didn't touch. And basically, I decided to do that because I did work for a distributor in the business, and I saw, you know, people calling in, getting information regarding the home audio video side of the business. And what that did is that led us to get into home automation at a much earlier stage. Doing work for a national builder, we were able to get into homes in the pre-construction stages where we could actually get the houses wired and go in and put in a lawn home system, AMX system, and so forth. So we've been doing this for quite a while now. However, though, with the equipment available now, we can offer to, you know, people other than that are building $1 million home. We can offer to people in the average income stream, so they can have some of the bells and whistles that typically were only available for the people who had higher incomes. So we really find it very beneficial that we can explain to people that you can come home, turn off your alarm, open the door, lights turn on, locks unlock, and so forth. And we find it very, very appealing to them.
Great. Thanks, Lee. Appreciate it. Paul, last but not least, you're up.
Oh, thanks, George, and thanks to NAPCO for inviting me to sit in on this panel. For years, our company has been installing custom security systems, really using a very primitive connection to alarms with telephone controllers, primarily for heat control, just due to the nature of the demographics of where we're located. And one of the benefits, of course, is the ability to control the security system as well. And this arrangement worked well for us for more than a decade. But a few years ago, during the course of a year, our company faced some events which caused us to really step way back and take a very long look at ourselves as a company and where we fit in our marketplace. We had some equipment availability concerns with our primary equipment manufacturer, in addition to the entry of Comcast into our security market. So we took a look at several major manufacturers' products and services for the connected home. And of course, probably the greatest importance to us were those that had tested their equipment with other third-party manufacturers' products. So we weren't caught in the, well, it should work with that, but come to find out it didn't because, well, they weren't, not everything being compatible and all. So as a company, we made a sort of a collaborative decision about the products we were going to use. And for the most part, we used 3 manufacturers' products, primarily NAPCO as our leading product. But it's really to fill a niche among those 3 with our product offerings and their connected home products. And of course, implementing this change meant things like staff training days, so that everyone in the sales and service installation parts of the organization are really part of the process of supporting these products. So we're really to the point of where we're able to say we offer that, whatever it happens to be, to our new and existing customers. And I think going forward, our goal is not to necessarily be on the bleeding edge of technology. And we certainly don't want to get caught in trying to decide between the Betamaxes and VHS of times past. But I think at this point in time, we sort of have a tempered enthusiasm approach for the very latest, just in that, we want to reduce or eliminate any backpedaling or loss of confidence in the products and services we offer, and loss of confidence in our ability to support those products. And I think lastly, I think a lot of print has been devoted of late to connected home as sort of a catchphrase, like it's really something new. And I think the reality is that homes have been connected by phone, cable, and satellite TV, as well as the internet, for years. And I think our terminology is a little bit behind the times in terms of really reflecting what we're talking about here, which is really being connected to our home, not just the connected home.
Paul, that's good. Every one of you brought up some great points, and I want to start diving a little bit deeper on it. But one of the things that I am really curious about from your guys' perspective, and I think I'm going to go back to Jim here. We have all these great add-ons, security system. It seems like now we're selling home control systems, and by the way, you get a security system with it. In your opinion, what is engaging the customer that says, I really like the security system, but what do they really want from a connected home? Do they want the controlled locks? Do they want the video? What's making the decision easy for them to say, yes, that's what I want, and I want it from your company?
Well, what we're seeing still is traditionally the security is still number one. That's our main focus in the business. The customer's calling. We don't advertise. Everything is word of mouth. It's always about the security. But it's always mentioned by the customer because they see it on TV or hear about it, about the add-ons, the thermostats, locks, whatever it may be. So our main focus is security first, and we like to keep it simple, keypad by the door, simplicity, instead of pulling the app out of your phone out of your pocket. You open up the app and turn the alarm on and off. But as we're talking about the security, now the add-ons come on. So the focus of most customers I see is the security first, and then, it can do this, it can do locks, and that's our opportunity to sell more because we have the product available to us. We have the locks. Would you like that? Would you like thermostats? Again, like I said before, the app to arm and disarm the alarm is basically every account we put on with a radio. The customer just loves that. They all use it, and that's an add-on. That's a selling feature, and obviously it's more reoccurring revenue every month, which is what the business we're in, and we don't want any headaches either, so the product works very well. So that's the main focus, security, and then the add-ons afterwards. I never had anybody come to me, I just want to do thermostats. That does not happen. So our focus is security first, add-ons second, and everything incorporates under the same app, the same platform. And that's what's important to the customers. They see, the add-ons, it's all part of one-stop shopping. We can do it all. They don't have to call 5 different people. That's what I'm seeing in the customer base. Back in the early 90s, a lot of people said structured wiring. They want their house home automated. I've heard builders say to me, I want automation. I'd say, well, what do you want? Does you turn the alarm on, the blinds go up and down, you want the coffee maker turn on? Nobody knew what it meant. Now I think the simplicity, because again, the advertisement people see on TV, they see, thermostats. Nobody thinks about the coffee maker turn on and off at 6 o'clock in the morning, but they see thermostats, they see locks, they see cameras, they see the alarm turning on and off. That's what most people think. So the focus for our company is security first, add-ons second, because add-ons create more reoccurring revenue. And that's what most customers we talk to, we say.
Okay, thanks for that. And I'm going to ask the same question of Matt. Matt, your company is newer in I guess in the last 3 years. What are you seeing from your perspective? What are the customers buying from you?
Actually, I would have to agree that security is still the driving. That's the engine, I guess, if you will, that gets us in. And then once people see the additional things you can do, some of these items almost sell themselves. So if you're installing the iBridge product, for example, and you're routing it through a radio or using internet connection, you're now connected. You have the app, like you said. It's very easy to arm it and disarm it. And just to say, hey, in Arizona, for instance, Phoenix, we get summers, 120 degrees. Well, you don't want to air condition your house all day long while you're gone at work. Hey, I can get you this thermostat. We can set this so it automatically, an hour before you're going to come home or whatever, sets it down to 79 or whatever. And I say, that can save me a lot of money. And it's these little things that, you can do this so it'll actually turn on your lights, and the Z-Wave technology is what's really made this so easy to sell, because there's no additional wiring to do. And if you tell them it's going to cost them a very minimal amount of money a month to add this and to add this, it becomes very easy to add those ancillary services. But the still main driving factor is they're calling us because they want a security system, and then we can offer the other items a la carte. But the driving factor has still been everybody wants to feel secure, and then you open their eyes to what else they can have with it.
That's great. Now that you brought up technology, Zigbee, Z-Wave, and Bluetooth, all those different technologies that can make things connect easier, maybe, or maybe it's more difficult. But I like to bring this up to Paul because Paul, you're the installation and inventory manager, but you're also responsible for looking at new products. Tell us a little about, does this add a lot of complexity for the installation, and how does it drive up the cost to service them? What, from your point of view, what do you see these technologies doing to your company?
Well, I mean, we certainly, what we have is to avoid getting caught in the, well, do we go down the Blu-ray or is it HD DVD path? So we have a collaborative process where everyone in the company gets the opportunity to look at products and either identify, where we have needs, or maybe, there's a product that's actually better than what we're currently using. And everyone gets to sort of weigh in as to, should we embark on the path to use this particular product? Because, everyone that's certainly worked in the field has sort of gotten this mysterious box and opened it up and said, what am I supposed to do with this? And all part of sort of tempering your enthusiasm. It's also part of not open the window and throw the money out because it's, it shouldn't have gone down that path. Because normally we actually test it in-house to see if it really meets what it says it is, so that we don't get caught with, well, I guess we probably wasted money on that particular thing, so if it is of value, it makes it a lot easier to pitch that to customers. So we internally can support it, and also not, so we can be heroes instead of taking lumps over such a thing. If that answers your question, George.
Yeah, and I want to go a little bit further with Lee. Maybe Lee, let's approach it from your perspective for these technologies that are coming out that are connecting the home, all the different services and products that we can offer, and maybe the security panel is the hub, but there's some people out there that are skittish about approaching technology, and they don't want the complexity of the installation to drive up their cost to service them. So from your perspective, what do you look at?
Well, I think the security is the primary reason that somebody would put a system in their home. But as you explain what the ability of the systems are capable of doing, and the cost to add these additional features are very minimal for what the system can do. You go back 3 or 5 years ago, if you wanted to have some type of light automation system, you had to get into thousands of dollars of equipment to do that. With a system like the NAPCO, the iBridge, the Z-Wave, and so forth, you can actually control, a half dozen lights, for several $100s, and, give that person some type of automation and lifestyle that they've never had before. And, we have a large number of customers that have weekend homes here in Connecticut, and their biggest complaint is when they get to their home here in Connecticut, they have to wait for the heat, the house to heat up and so forth. With this technology, they're able to turn around and adjust the thermostat, get into a warm house or a cool house prior to them, landing in the home, which, they like that because they're not sitting there freezing after the house being set at 50 degrees. The other advantage with this technology is they can actually see their premises from afar. So they can actually check up on the house themselves, see if there's anything going on. If an alarm occurs and you have cameras strategically located around the house, they can actually review that themselves to make sure no one is in the home, or if somebody's been at the house, delivery, or so forth. So it's really adding a big benefit for a substantially low cost from what the previous years used to be.
Great. So with all this touching of the connected home and the security and things like that, I'm gonna throw this over to Matt before I go to Jim. In your experience, Matt, is there a need to touch the consumer's home network, or is there an opportunity to generate RMR? Have you found that there's been an opportunity to generate RMR from offering home networking products and services?
In our particular case, we actually do multiple different types of systems, and the cabling and the home networks and that type of thing actually is something that we already actually offer. And in terms of the iBridge does not need to be tied to the home network, as I believe Lee had said, or possibly it was Jim, that the NAPCO radio actually gives you the full capability to communicate with that panel, eliminates the need for the landline. But if, and in going back to my premise of our business, we want to do everything we can for each of our customers once they've, realized that we're reliable and we offer a quality, product and solution for them. We try to do everything we can for them, and some people don't like necessarily touching the network, and there is a liability aspect involved if you aren't the network cabling contractor or who's setting that up. So we kind of see things go both ways, but I know with the iBridge product, you don't have to touch the network. But if you are already working on the network, it seamlessly connects and is of little impact to any network traffic. Even if you put the NVR on the network for recording the cameras, it's actually all very easy and very modular.
Great. Jim, is that your same perspective?
Yeah, pretty much. I see one thing about this: the Zigbee, the Z-Wave, the Bluetooth. I mean, I think Zigbee and Z-Wave is like beta VHS. Which one's going to win the war? My opinion is Z-Wave, which I think is a better technology. The old days, you had to run a wire to the thermostat, or you actually hooked to a light switch, and the electrician would relay magic. But Z-Wave, with beaming now, I don't know if everybody knows what beaming is. Anything in the last year that means it's going to send out multiple signals, so the reliability getting from point A to B is up. And as long as you install everything properly, and that's the key, I see a lot of things installed properly, not trying to get a 10,000 square foot house, it's very reliable. It's very easy to use. You stay within the parameters, and you don't have any problems, so there's no running wires. So Z-Wave, to me, the NAPCO technology they're using with the iBridge is Z-Wave. It's very easy to use, to talk from the iBridge to a repeater to a thermostat to a door lock. It's the simplicity that's there. Nothing to do with their home network. I mean, yes, you have to plug into a router at one point, but as far as the components you're putting around with Z-Wave, a very reliable technology if it's installed like anything properly. Don't try to go 300 feet with something that's not going to work, and then the customer gets very mad at you. So we focus very intently on doing it proper for the customer. When we see a thermostat that's too far away, we're going to put a repeater in between, do the customer justice. And that's very important, is to do the job properly without headaches, because any headaches come back and haunt you, and it's your fault.
Great. Thank you. I'm going to shift a little bit. I'm going to go back to Lee here. And we're all now doing interactive services, and I believe what is happening is that it's more engaging for the end user. They feel more connected to their home. Do you find that it's lowering the traditional attrition rates at this point in time? Do you find that your attrition has lowered because you're offering these interactive services?
Yeah, I believe it does, because now you're basically in touch with your customers more. And my feeling is, especially with my customers, the more you keep interacted with them, the more they remember who you are. That's why we actually send out a quarterly newsletter to all of our customers, as well as about 2,000 other email addresses, which really has helped us, because I would assume probably every time we send that newsletter out, we probably get about a 2 to 3% return on phone calls, with people not knowing about the new technologies and other services that are now available. So we found that to be a very good benefit on getting back into the customers' homes, updating older systems, educating them on newer services, like the automation, the thermostats, lighting, locks, video. and I mean, as far as our customer base is concerned, we have a pretty close niche with them. I've had several customers call me up saying they've seen a commercial, hey, can I do that with our alarm system and our system? And I say, sure we can. We just have to come in, evaluate it, determine what you want to do, and just add the devices, and now you're connected to your home.
That's great. And Jim, I want to go back to that question with you too. What is your view of that, Tricia?
Exactly. If you have more contact with the customers, meaning they're using their phone as an app, they're turning their thermostats, and we label everything with our logo on there, they see you're in their face every day. So they remember you more. They're also using, instead of just an alarm, you turn it on and off, what value are they really getting? But with thermostats, lights, locks, they're getting a value. They see something. So they have a tendency to pay the bill. And you're in their face all the time. So they think about you. And that's very important. So you don't lose as many accounts because they say, oh, I need this company to control my thermostats, my locks. And they think more about the alarms, more presence right there. So I definitely think you hold on to more customers the more products you offer to them.
That's great. And Matt, there's so much competition out there right now. How do you compete to win and grow your business in today's evolving residential security? I mean, we have cable companies, Verizon's. We now have, who knows, Google Nest. We have Dropcam. We have Canary. We have Piper. We have so many things coming at us, right? Or the consumers have so many things coming at them. How are you differentiating yourself?
Part of how I differentiate our company is that we are primarily a low voltage systems integrator. We're not the cable company. We're not Verizon. This is our specialty, and I think and as we had talked earlier in the webinar here, that the cable companies, Verizon, AT&T, they are doing this to try to recapture lost revenue, and I think what I actually see that differentiates us is that we've built trust with our customers, and we have customers that are commercial customers that we do a commercial job, and now they want us to do their house, and they want the connected home. And it's a trust thing that we've built trust with our customers and a lot of word of mouth. But primarily, we're experts in this industry, and I think partially the fact that the security industry in general may not be the fastest moving on the bleeding edge of technology, as I think Paul had said, but Zigbee and I think that might be the beta version, but in terms of Z-Wave, this is a proven technology that was not necessarily driven solely by the security industry, and we've all been able to marry this technology to another proven technology that we already use every day. And therefore, I think that solidifies the fact that we know what we're doing. And in terms of viewing what's going on at the house, there is the installation side of things that, we have distance limitations, but doing our proper homework and stuff, we are able to offer a solution that I think we know what we're doing, and our customers see that, and they respect that this is our industry, not something that we're trying to do to reclaim lost revenue. And I think that actually makes it easier for us to compete because we're on our home turf.
That's great. And Paul, I'm going to give you a last question before we go to some questions from the audience here. From your perspective, competition is competition. Do you view the cable companies, the telecom companies, or the people that we don't know who are coming in this industry as viable competition in the future that we have to all be concerned about?
Well, I guess, we should certainly be concerned about all competition. I think some of it, anybody that remembers when the last time the telephone companies were in the alarm business and how, in the end, miserably they failed, may want to rethink their approach to those particular companies because, as Matt had alluded to, I mean, this is the stuff that we know, and these folks are, hey, I think I can do that too, until they discover that, well, there's a lot of that stuff that is actually hard. And when they find that they can't make any money at it for whatever reason, they don't want to get licensed, or They find that their products aren't meeting up to customers' expectations, or even if it's, we did some work at a house and the customer suffered a large loss, and with social media being quick to brand tar and feather companies for their actions or inactions, I think we have to do what we can to really differentiate ourselves from basically the guys that while they act like they're planning on being here for a while, may not really be around in a few years.
That's great. And just before we move on, just the last thing I want to say is, the connected home, people go, why should I, offer all these different services and whatnot? I'm just a traditional security. The world is changing, technology is changing, and I think that there's two available markets. One are the dumb panels that are out there that don't have the ability to interact with technology today. That's an available market of all your existing customers that have the ability to go back to them and upgrade them to new technology. And then you have all the people out there that want a new system, and they want new engaging systems. So it's a great time to be in the business, and I think you guys have given some great answers. And so now we're going to move on. We're trying to stay with in our time frame here. So we got a couple questions that are now it's our turn from our attendees. And I'm going to give this one to Jim. There's a lot of equipment in this market, and it's wireless, and it's not cheap. It's not inexpensive. Let's go that way. And the cable companies are giving it away for free. Is everyone giving equipment for free? Are they giving it away for free? Is that what you're finding out in the marketplace?
Well, obviously, everybody, first thing they say, aren't you going to do it for free?
Yes.
We say, no, we don't do free alarms. I always say, I can sell you an alarm cheaper than that free alarm if you do the numbers. There's no such thing as free. Somehow you're paying for it. And because we get a lot of people, you want to do my house for free? Somebody else is going to do it for free. We're talking about the big companies. There's no such thing as free when you really do the numbers and really look at their contracts. We don't do 5-year contracts, a lot of people. We tell people, we're going to do a 1-year contract. You don't like us, go somewhere else. We'll gladly unlock the panel for you. You're not proprietary. There's no such thing as free. And with the big company, we also say, look, if your faucet was broken, are you going to call a nationwide plumbing company to come out and fix? You're going to call a local guy. We're local. We have our own central station. We can service you. There's no such thing as free. I had one guy who was a lawyer. He goes, he wanted a free alarm. I said, let me tell you, do me a favor. I need some free legal advice. I can't do it for free. Well, you want me to do a free alarm?
Yeah.
So the answer to your question is there's no such thing as free, and you got to show the consumer that it's not free. And that's what we try to do here.
Great. And then I'm going to give this one over to Lee. There's a lot of communication paths from that go from the control panel to the end user. And here's the question: can you do notifications to the end user, or do you rely on the central station? In other words, are you communicating directly with the end user, or is it only going through the central station? For example, if you have an alarm, or via text or emails or video, how are you communicating with the customer? Is it always through the central station?
We offer both. I basically ask the customer if they would like to have a text message prior to the central station contacting them. And I would say probably 7 times, out of 10, the customer likes to have a text message sent to them first. Because that message will get to them before the operator will actually call them. So they're going to have an awareness on that before the central station is calling. But in turn, they can also intercept it and maybe contact whoever might be at the residence as well. But the nice thing about the newer technology is you can actually set that up to where they can be alerted, even if just a door opens or a motion detector is detected or a camera is detected, they can have awareness there without having any central station interaction, basically just giving them some awareness of what's going on around their home.
Great. Hey, this has been a great discussion. I want to thank all our presenters and NAPCO for helping make this a webinar a success. And the learning doesn't have to stop there. Here, ESX we're very excited to be offering these seminars coming up. So to gain more knowledge about RMR and the connected home, be sure to attend the ESX and gain the business intelligence necessary to compete in today's marketplace. And here's a sampling of a few sessions that focus on RMR creation. And by the way, George, you still with us?
Yes.
Yes, you have a quick announcement. If you can give us a minute or less. You have about you can talk about a new program. Go ahead.
Yeah, briefly. So in early April, we are launching the country's first mass market iBridge connected home dealer program. And we'll be launching in a big way at ESX in June and signing up new dealers. The program is going to take anybody that's currently not doing a lot of this connected home stuff, and we will train you, educate you, give you all the marketing plans and programs and sales training and everything else to put you in the connected home business. So that's it. Thanks for letting me announce that, George.
Yeah, thanks, George. And I just want to let you know, here's something else that you guys can get excited about. It's for those people that will be attending ESX. You too can be part of the My Company Selfie promo. Take a picture of your yard sign with or without your staff. It can be fun, nostalgic, or serious, and send it to me at george@ESXweb, and we will feature it as a special presentation at ESX. If you haven't been to ESX, it's a great time to learn about business intelligence, but it's also a great time to network and have a little bit of fun too. And then speaking of ESX, June is right around the corner, so it's a great time to lock in your registration and savings for ESX 2014 in Nashville, Tennessee. By the way, I just booked my airfare with American Airlines and received a 5% discount. So I want you to head to esx.web now and register for the Deluxe Pass for this year's event as soon as this webinar is completed, and for access to the discount promo code for American Airlines. If you would like to review this session again, the recording will be made available, as we said before, on ESX Web. I'd like to thank everybody for attending today's session, and again, thank NAPCO and our presenters for doing a great job. And we look forward to seeing you and your team at ESX 2014 in Nashville. This concludes today's webinar. Thank you.